Bear back in the building, baby. Yeah. What's up, people? This your boy Vipe. Welcome back to Bears Live here on Bears Yard. I normally do a live stream every Thursday evening, but I was a little busy yesterday wait a minute, live here wait a minute, let me mute myself. There we go. As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by me. I normally do a live stream every Thursday evening, but last night, me and the woman went to go see Superman, so I could not be here to stream with you all. But I'm here tonight. We got to talk about them big breaking news in the world of the Chicago Bears. General Manager Ryan Poles has been extended to 2029 to align him with Ben Johnson, so they are now on the same timeline. And it's funny, looking at the Twitter reaction to this Ryan Poles news that he was getting extended. I told y'all months ago that he was getting extended. It was never truly made official until today. But I told y'all a while ago he was getting extended, and it just makes too much sense. Like, listen, when last season ended, right, and when the Bears went 5-12, and I think that brought Poles' record to 15-36 over his 3-year tenure at GM, I was 50-50 on whether or not he can stay, right? I was 50-50. I'm like, all right, if they fire him, I'm not really mad. If they keep him, I'm not really mad. But then they kept him, and they let him lead the coaching search. So at that point, you know he's not going anywhere because he's actually leading the coaching search. So not only does he lead the coaching search, he leads the coaching search to a conclusion that gets the Bears the most wanted head coach candidate of the last, 5 or 10 years in Ben Johnson? And Ben Johnson is largely chose to come to the Chicago Bears because of Ryan Poles. And this is what a lot of y'all seem to gloss over, right? In your hatred for Ryan Poles, you conveniently forget that we probably would not have gotten Ben Johnson without Ryan Poles. Now, say what you want about his record on the field and his moves via trades and drafts. He was instrumental in the acquisition of Ben Johnson. And at this point, that's the most important thing going into 2025. Ben Johnson is here. He is the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and he is here because Ryan Poles brought him here. Him and Ben Johnson had a very solid connection in the interviews. And because of that, Ben Johnson, remember you all, did not interview in person with a single team. He chose to come to the Chicago Bears straight away without doing any in-person interviews because the interview that he had with Poles was that strong. And yes, I know that Kevin Warren and George McCaskey were involved in the interview, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, nobody cares. Ryan Poles is the reason why Ben Johnson is here, and we landed Ben Johnson, the man that we all wanted. I think most of us can agree that we wanted Ben Johnson here as head coach, and Ryan Poles is the reason why he's here. Now, when the coaching search was going on, and we were all wondering what would Ben Johnson want, what would bring him to Chicago, the number one thing that kept coming up was Ben Johnson wanted alignment with the GM. Now, a lot of the Crazy Raider fans thought that meant that he wanted to bring in his own GM. But I told you all that was not what that meant. I, here on Bears Yard, your boy Vipe, told you that when they were talking about alignment, they were talking about Ben Johnson and the general manager being on the same page. It wasn't that he wanted his own GM. It was that he wanted to be on the same page with whatever GM he decided to work with. And luckily for us, he decided to work with Ryan Poles. So, alignment in this instance meant that him and Poles are on the same page, but now they have that contractual alignment because it doesn't really make sense to have Ben Johnson here for 5 years and not have Poles match him contractually. Also, y'all do realize that most NFL GMs get 2 head coaching hires before they're shown the door, right? Ryan Poles, and obviously there's a lot of conflicting rhetoric about it, whether or not he was forced to hire Eberflus. I think the overwhelming conclusion is that he chose Eberflus on his own. Regardless of the fact, he gets 2 head coaches. So now, Ben Johnson is his second head coach. And not only did he bring in Ben Johnson, he gave Ben Johnson one hell of a staff as well. I mean, you got Ben Johnson, Antoine Randall, Al Harris, Dennis Allen, JT Barrett back there, and everybody else that's back there on that coaching staff. And they don't come cheap, fam. You're not getting Al Harris and Antoine Randall for cheap. They are accomplished assistant coaches in the NFL. They are not coming cheap. Dennis Allen, not coming cheap. He is a former 2-time head coach. You're not getting him as a defensive coordinator on the cheap. So they went out and they paid Ben Johnson $13 million a year, but they stacked his coaching staff with people that don't come cheap because they have their own notches on their belt in the NFL. It's beautiful. This is the most accomplished Bears coaching staff we've had probably in my lifetime, which is like 44 years. So I am excited. I am hyped. You should be too. And again, it's all because Ryan Poles and his ability to gel with Ben Johnson during the interview is what has made this possible. Now, let's talk about Ryan Poles and the players that he brought in or how good or how bad they've been. Now, we all know about the missions, right? He has had some epic fails as a general manager for our players that he has brought in and things like that, right? And we could start off with his very first potential player acquisition that never happened, Larry Ogunjobi. At the time, I told y'all that I felt like that really wasn't Ryan Poles' fault, but everybody kept blaming him because Ogunjobi failed the physical. And I told y'all, how is that Ryan Poles' fault when there's a literal clause built in that he must pass the physical for the contract to be validated? So how is it Ryan Poles' fault? Once he failed the physical, the contract is void. So it's not Ryan Poles' fault that Ogunjobi failed the physical. He just failed. He wasn't ready. I think he was still recovering from an injury at that time, but it's not Ryan Poles' fault that the dude didn't get signed. The dude wasn't physically ready to go. And Ryan Poles had that built into his contract clause that stated that if he didn't pass the physical, then the Bears, they don't sign him. But for whatever reason, people blamed Ryan Poles for that, even though Ryan Poles had a protection built in anyway. And then we could talk about Nate Davis, Chase Claypool. Who else we could talk about all the mistakes that Ryan Poles? Byron Pringle. Who else? I mean, the laundry list of mistakes that Ryan Poles has made. Zach Pickens, Ja'Tyre Carter, not here anymore. I mean, there's a bunch of mistakes that Ryan Poles has made as it relates to general manager, whether it be the draft or free agency and different things like that. However, even though Ryan Poles, you got Erica in here. Hey, Erica, how you doing? Of course, Erica, if you've been watching my channel for now, I've told you months ago this was going to happen. And to your point, Erica, of course, it's not a surprise. You want to align the head coach with the GM, especially since the GM is largely responsible for bringing in the head coach. So yeah, this is not a surprise. I'm surprised that people are mad about it. I mean, we warned y'all this was happening for like a month now. Why y'all mad? Well, some of y'all, probably not y'all here in Bears Yard, but a lot of people on the Bears Twitter are mad about this. I don't know why, but anyway. Let's talk about the players that Ryan Poles has hit on and been responsible for bringing in via the draft or free agency that have been absolute bangers so far to our knowledge. We are going to take this to the Twitter. Boom. All right, let me see if I can make them bigger for y'all so y'all can see it better in the light. Boom, boom. All right. So, Caleb Williams, via the Panthers trade that I'll bring up more here in a little bit. Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, TJ Edwards, Montez Sweat, jury's still out on that one. Grady Jarrett, Luther Burden III, Colston Loveland, Drew Dalman, Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright, Andrew Billings, and Gervon Dexter Sr. These are all players that Poles have been responsible for bringing in. So for every Nate Davis and Chase Claypool and Byron Pringle and whatnot, you got your Rome Odunze, your Grady Jarrett and things like that. And listen, man, let's be real. The talent level on this team before Ryan Poles got here was kind of meh. Now, he did tear it down, and it was absolute dog wash in 2022, but he tore it down and then he built it back up. I don't care what any of y'all say. Last year, I expected the Bears to do a lot better than they did. The Bears were much better than their record last year, in my opinion. Now, the record was 5-12, and we didn't go anywhere, so it kind of got lost in the shuffle. But how much talk did you hear last offseason about how Caleb Williams is coming into the best situation ever for a rookie quarterback? You want to know why you heard that talk? You heard that talk because the Bears had so much talent between they had DJ, they had Rome, they had Keenan Allen, they had a solid defense. They had a lot of talent on that team last year that just underperformed because of the coaching largely, but a lot of them just underperformed anyway. But the coaching was largely to blame for last year. So Ryan Poles, as a GM, the GM job is to bring in the talent. the GM can't coach the team. He can only bring in the talent. So Ryan Poles brought Matt Eberflus a load of talent last year, and Matt Eberflus couldn't do anything with it because he's inept as a coach, and that's why he fired. But now you got this year, right? So not only does Ryan Poles retain the talent that he brought in, but added to it with the additions of Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, Grady Jarrett, Dayo Odeyingbo, and then he drafted Colton Loveland, Luther Burden, and the rest of them, right? But now he brings in a top-tier coaching staff that can be able to, or should be able to, maximize the talent that Ryan Poles has compiled on this team. So when you think about that, when you think about the talent that he has on the team already, multiply that by the coaching staff that he has now assembled with Ben Johnson and his staff, bro, the sky's the limit. Of course he was extended. How you not going to extend Ryan Poles? Are you kidding me? Like, the dude been balling out of control with the talent on the staff and then the coaching staff, bro. Now, obviously, we still have to wait and see how it all plays out on Sundays this year, obviously, because, I mean, we've won enough off seasons in Bears lore. Now we got to win in season, but I think that will take care of itself once the season starts. But, yeah, I'm very excited for this season. You should be too. And like Erica said, some Bear fans are never happy. You're right. They're never happy. But they can boo-hoo and complain all they want. I'm ready to rock and roll on Monday night on whatever September date that is, the first Monday night football game of the year. Bears Vikings on the lakefront in Chicago. Your boy Vipe will be ready, and we'll be talking about it live on Bears Yard on that Tuesday. You better believe that for sure. But I'm excited as hell, man. I'm just ready to rock and roll. But then we got to get into the most colossal, or one of the most colossal NFL trades in NFL history, right? Let me see if I can bring up the parameters of the trade. Because Ryan Poles absolutely fleeced the Panthers 2 years ago. And, whew, my God. I mean, wow. Let me show y'all what the fruits of this trade bore for the Chicago Bears, right? So, we traded our number one pick to the Panthers for DJ Moore and a bunch of their picks, right? So, this is the completion of the trade. So, the Panthers, with that number one pick that we traded to them, got Bryce Young. We, in return, got DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, Caleb Williams, mind you, and Luther Burden III, fam. We got all of that in the trade with the Panthers, and they got Bryce Young. Now, tell me again, who won that trade? Okay, don't worry, I'll wait, but not too long. Oh, ding, 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 time's up. The Bears won that trade by a country mile. Actually, a country 5 miles, okay, if we're being serious here. The Bears won that trade by 5 miles. I mean, they got Bryce Young, and we got Caleb Williams and bonuses, man. That's not even fair. Like, that trade was robbery. That trade should be illegal in 50 countries, okay? But it happened, and we made it happen. That's Ryan Poles' work. So, again, I go back to what I said earlier, right? You can hate Ryan Poles, but I think ultimately, if you count the Ben Johnson acquisition in there, Ryan Poles has done more good than harm to the Bears team. It's not his fault that he chose an inept coach in Matt Eberflus, but now he kind of corrected that with the pickup and hiring of Ben Johnson, and we got to see how it plays out, but I'm excited. I mean, Ben Johnson was wanted by a lot of teams, but he chose to come to Chicago because, again, him and Ryan Poles hit it off very well, and he valued that relationship with Ryan Poles, and that brought him to Chicago. Eric says, like it or not, as soon as Ben was hired, I knew this was coming. Of course. Obviously, again, like I said earlier, when Ben Johnson was hired, with Ryan Poles leading the search, mind you, I knew, anybody with a brain knew that Ryan Poles was going to get extended to match with Ben Johnson. Now, the Bears don't talk about this stuff much because they want to keep things on the hush-hush, but anybody with a brain could figure out real quick that Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles were going to be on the same timeline because Ryan Poles hired Ben Johnson, okay? He hired him, so why would he not be on the same timeline as the coach that he hired? It just makes too much sense. But, again, I'm excited. I feel like this is a good move from Chicago. Now everybody is lined up. Now we can go out and ball. Hopefully we can get Colton Loveland and Luther Burden healthy at training camp, I'm hoping. And then we can see what they can do and try to integrate them into the plan for this upcoming season. Hopefully these improvements on the offensive line will pan out. And we'll go from there, man. But this has been amazing. An amazing offseason so far. And I'm excited for where it can go here in 2025. If you all got any thoughts or questions about Ryan Poles getting extended, feel free to drop them in the chat. I don't know what's going on with these live streams. Like, not gonna lie, like nobody shows up. I don't know if YouTube just doesn't push them out. I found out that they've been categorized incorrectly for the longest time. For the longest time, they were going under sports and science and technology, even though they're sports talk and sports live stream. So I don't know. I don't think that would be the reason why they're not being pushed out there, but content on the channel as a whole have not been pushed out the way it was before. I don't know what the hell is going on with that. I'm not sure why that's happening, but it seems like YouTube has been suppressing the content a lot in the last couple of weeks. But these live streams, especially, they haven't gone out to many people in forever. I'm not sure why or what's happening with that, but I appreciate those of y'all who take the time to stop through and hang out. I appreciate y'all, like Erica and whoever else is in the chat. Appreciate you making the time for a few minutes for me tonight to hang out and talk about this Ryan Poles extension that we all knew was going to happen. And congratulations to Ryan Poles for getting the extension, you know? I mean, again, he had a lot of bumps in the road, and it's extremely difficult to be a GM in the NFL. But the other thing that we need to remember about Ryan Poles is that he was one of the hot GM candidates when he was coming out from Kansas City, right? He was a finalist, I think, for the Carolina job a couple of years ago before he landed with the Chicago Bears. And I think Minnesota had wanted him too. But obviously, he chose to come to Chicago, and now he's getting an extension. So kudos to Ryan Poles. You know, again, he's had a lot of bumps in the road. His record as a GM is not the best, but again, I think that's because he picked the wrong coach. And now here's hoping he picked the right coach, and we can begin to reverse that record a little bit and get it on the positive side, and we'll go from there. But if y'all don't have any questions or comments, I'm gonna let y'all go. Again, I appreciate y'all being here and hanging out for a few minutes. Again, shout out to Ryan Poles and the Bears for getting this done. Also, shout out to Ryan Poles for bringing in Ben Johnson, bro. Like, when I got that news, I was like so happy. I thought the city was lit. Like, the city was lit. When Ryan Poles, or we found out that Ben Johnson was going to be the next head coach of the Bears, the city was lit. Yo, we were all lit. And now we're just waiting for these games to become a thing on Monday night, week 1 on the lakefront. It's Caleb versus JJ McCarthy. We're going to eat them alive because y'all know how we do. It ain't going to be biblical. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great weekend, and we'll be back with the normal videos on Monday here on the yard. But until then, bear down.